Good morning. Good morning, everyone. First, I want to send our love to Vicky. She can't be here this morning, but we know that she's here in spirit. And James wanted to be here today, but he's in retreat today. So he told me, take care of it, Maria. I said, I will. I missed you guys. I felt that weekend off, and I'm happy to be back. I wanted to say hi to all the Zoomers. Hi, loves. And to community. Woo! So today we have a hot topic. Are you ready to rumble? Bring it on. I like it. All right, so let's start with the reading and let's see where Spirit takes us today. All right. You may be wondering if you will be attacked if you teach the full relinquishment of the perceptual world. Your fear of being attacked is what being attacked is. And this is the only thing stopping you from your full relinquishment. Who is it that could ever attack you? Things that make you go, It is your own mind, yet you have become very skillful at projecting your attack onto others, making it seem as if you are the victim. Right? So, eso está caliente. That's hot, right? Hot topic. You are not, and this realization will set you free from every illusion you still hold in your mind. Victimhood is of the ego and the perceptual mind, but never of the soul. The ego vacillates between being the attacker and the victim, but never as the unaffected one. Holy moly, guacamole. All right, we can get through this. It is the one that is, James gave us a real good one today. It is this one that is claimed by God, which has never left its source. It is the one that realizes and extends the truth that is forever true and the reality that is forever real. And I always say that we are so worthy of that. Okay? We are so worthy of that, of what this is saying. And that which is one with all there is could never be vulnerable to attack. Okay? That one is you, now and forever. Claim it, just claims you this very moment. Claim it, it just claims you this very moment. All right, so what we're getting here, what I'm getting here from the reading, but first I need to take a breath. All right. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for this union as you guide the direction of this talk that is helpful for all and for the healing. For me, this is particularly touching and moving because this topic of victimization and feeling victimized is huge. This is the big kahuna. This is the big one. When I say that, it's like when we feel very victimized, the Course says, because we think we separated from God. The Course also says we're never upset for the reason we think. And the reason for that is that we're upset really for that unconscious separation of our Father, that we feel we separated from our Father. So that victimization that we feel, I want to address it today and do everything we can in our power to wake up and understand that we don't need to be victims no more. The time has come. So the question is, are we ready? Are you ready? Right? The big question is, are you ready? ¿Están listos? My Zoomers, are you ready? All right. So, I love how you say yes, but remember the other day, yes, but no. So, there's that blind spot and that willingness to be so uncompromising that when you do go into victimization, because you will, you're going to be more observant. You're going to remember who your Father, Mother, God is, and you are going to do your very best to let go of that victimization. Today I have a very personal story to share. Not surprising, right? Today was I told my assistant this morning, I said, I have to share this morning. He's like, it's all for the healing, Maria. Right? I wanted to share a story of when I felt most victimized. Not only emotionally, but physically. And really feeling guilty. Not only victimized by the outside person I believe victimized me, but also I was victimizing myself with my own thoughts and betrayal and guilt. Okay? It's a little funny. It's actually, I share this story in my book, Live Your Happy. And it's all about the story. And I think I mentioned it a little bit here, but I haven't gone to detail like I will today. And it's the story about the abs guy. Are you guys interested? Excuse me, right? Gossip. What happened with the abs guy? Well, I'll have to say that being magnetized by this man's abs and the way he looked, I totally forgot about my spirituality. It went out the window. No minister, no unity, no nothing. It was gone. These abs were it. And in my book, I actually call that section the abs guy, which this story, we laugh about it, literally killed me. Exactly. I know. Juicy, right? I get to laugh about it now. We will laugh about it just because it seems a little bit like a strong topic to talk about. But I was living in Los Angeles, and this was around 2013. I had an Airbnb that I would rent out. And this younger, very fine-looking guy, I rented my room to. It's like the Lion's Den, you know? It's like we're set up. So we can go into these situations and we can see how much we love our Father, Mother, God. We want to see how we're going to come out of forgetting, come out of the illusion. It's all set up. So any type of situation that comes into your life that appears to be hard, it's actually your friend, because it literally, this lesson of victimization came to my front door in a very good looking package. Ay, ay, ay. I love you guys. I feel like you guys are on the edge of your seats. It's like a good movie. It is. It is a movie, right? That's the funny part. All right. So let me just read it from here because it's kind of funny the way I write it. The abs guy, my forgiveness challenge is the title there. I got to put these on because. All right, I'll read a little bit of it and then I'll stop and see. But just it's a little funny the way I read it. We can be strongly tempted not to forgive when an issue in our lives seems very big or painful. Believe me, I know. When I had a short-lived romance with this guy who had an amazing physique with a six-pack of steel. Que rico, I say. I admit that's what hooked me. See what happens when you make the body real? Yeah, I know. 1 month after we had broke things off, I began to have sharp, painful cramps. The pain would not go away, so I went to the doctor. I was shocked when she told me I might be pregnant. I remember the last night I was with the abs guy. We had a big fight about not having used protection, and he wanted me to take the Plan B pill, which I did, and so I thought I couldn't get pregnant. Since then, I'd even had my period. At the doctor's office, I took the pregnancy test and they told me to call the next day for the results. The next day, I was getting ready for an audition. I was an actress at this time. But I was in so much pain, I could not even apply my makeup. I felt as if I was going to faint. Thank goodness I had a friend staying with me and she helped me while I called the doctor. The nurse told me that I might be having an ectopic pregnancy. Okay, guys, I've never heard of this before. And that I had to go to the hospital. And I said, ectopic? While my friend drove me, I did a quick internet search and learned that this pregnancy, in which it's a pregnancy in which the baby developed outside of the uterus. So basically in my fallopian tube, my friends. Holy moly, what a nightmare. After what felt like the most painful sonogram in the history of womankind, I waited in the emergency room. Finally, a sweet, very youthful Asian lady appeared. She was so cute, but I knew this was an emergency, right? She explained matter-of-factly, Maria, you're having an ectopic pregnancy. Since the fetus may be ruptured in your fallopian tube, we need to bring you into surgery or you will die of internal bleeding. My first thought was, well, maybe I want to die. This world is such a mess. Then I realized that dying would not fix anything, but forgiveness would. After a complicated surgery and 2 blood transfusions, I regained consciousness in my recovery bed and started sobbing. I was sad, mad, and hurt and disillusioned. I felt so alone. Most of all, I felt like a victim. I was in a lot of pain, but soon I realized that I was really suffering more from my thoughts I was having. So I asked myself this pivotal question. Why am I feeling this way? And the answer came quickly. I wish I hadn't slept with this guy. I wish I hadn't taken the Plan B pill. I wish I hadn't been so irresponsible. This is what happens, right? These narratives of after something happens, it's I wish I could have, I would have. It's like I wish it would be different. I wish I hadn't done this. At this time, I was a speaker at the Unity Church. I was already coming into being a teacher, and this happened in the middle of all that. So what I want to say to that is what happened to me on that hospital bed was one of the most incredible mystic experiences I've ever had. And it's funny because it came from that space of victimization. What happens is that I was on the bed that moment, and all the ego thoughts were coming in, all the guilt thoughts were coming in of how could I get myself in this position? Why did I get myself in this position? It was so painful, not only physically, but also mentally. So this is what happened. This is the game time. This is when we start to say, I want to see this differently. This is when we get to say, I don't want to be victimized anymore. I want to remember what is really real here. What came to me was the movie Cocoon. I saw myself, I was so guided to see myself in this cocoon and remember my innocence. To see myself in this cocoon and know that I am not a body and that I really can't be hurt. But in this cocoon, in my hospital bed after surgery, to feel really the love of God. I asked Spirit, please Spirit, let me see this another way. And I got this download that was so incredibly powerful, which my decision was okay and accepted, and there's nothing wrong with me, and there's nothing wrong here. The only thing that is wrong is how you're believing that it's an issue and your judgment on it. And then the loss, right? I lost something. I lost a baby. Then there was this thought that I felt very powerful, is that I cannot lose anything, and I haven't lost anything. And I've gained everything. And I'm not just saying this like, this is the experience I had of that I did not lose anything, but I gained everything. And that is forgiveness. And that's so upside down and radical, because the world would say, oh my God, which I understand, poor victim. You got hurt by this abs guy, then he doesn't really talk to you, and then you have a surgery, you almost die, you lost a baby. The narratives behind that and that victimization, I could have made it very real. But in that moment, I genuinely said, I haven't lost anything, I have gained everything. And what did I gain, and what do I mean by that? No words. You know what I mean. It doesn't even need words. It's when you know that you know, and I cannot be a victim of it. It's not the Plan B's fault, the pill. It's not his fault. It's not my fault. It's funny because when people say, I don't understand why this is happening. This is such a big thing. I don't understand why this is happening. And if I understand, because if I would have been like, I don't understand why this is happening. Why is this ectopic pregnancy happening? Why? Why to me? Why this pain? If I go there, which would be the narrative of fear, for what? I have no idea why this has happened. And I don't care. But what I do care about is remembering again, because that is my function. Being in this body, being in my experiences in life, my function is to come back to God, to come back to Spirit, to come back to what is really real. So what happens is my brother, he's such a sweetheart. He came flying from Miami and was at my bedside the day after. And he said something such as, I don't know if it was he that said it, but a friend of mine said, make sure you don't tell anybody about this. I think we should just keep this to ourselves. You know? And I was like, no, everybody will know about this. So much so, I put it in my book. I have a whole section on it. You're a minister. You're speaking at Unity every Sunday. Yes, welcome. I am a minister. And this is what it looks like. I get to forget, I get to remember, and I get to forget and remember with my brothers and sisters. We get to hold hand and celebrate in that awakening. That's what we're here for. So what happens is real big miracles happen that year. I was invited to do the Course in Miracles conference with Tony Pacello at the time. He had been doing conferences for a long time. And I had been invited to go to Chicago. It would be my first conference, and it was in 4 weeks. I wouldn't be speaking, but I had everything paid for by an amazing, this amazing couple that they had seen me on YouTube and said, you make the Course in Miracles so fun and so joyous. We want to fly you to the conference so you can meet Tony so that you can speak at this conference. So I said, okay, well, I had this surgery. So I was thinking I wouldn't be able to go. Guys, I was walking like a turtle. I was literally, they literally cut me open. So I was hunched down and I was walking very slow. To make a long story short, I walked into the doctor's office and she told me I would be fine in 3 weeks to travel and that she would give me a letter so that I can fly and get a wheelchair at the hospital. So I ended up going to Chicago. I was on a wheelchair and I was so on fire. I was like a fast turtle. I was on fire. I was interviewing David Hoffmeister over here. I was interviewing this person. I had Maria Coco on TV at the time. I would just go and interview all these teachers. Tony Pacello saw me come out of the elevator and he says, Maria, he's very familiar. Maria, I didn't know you were handicapped. It was like so funny, every miracle after miracle. And I was able to, I didn't end up speaking at that conference, but I would end up speaking at all the other conferences after that. But that is how it is when you're not living victimized. I got myself to that conference. I got dressed. I served my purpose of interviewing teachers and getting the message out there. You can see them on YouTube. I have a whole series of videos when I was handicapped at the time. It's all good. It's all good in the hood, right? So what is that teaching us? And that's a big one, right? Because people say, oh, it's easy to forget the little ones. I'm giving you a real big one. Because I could have chosen to go the victimized route. Something's wrong here. I lost something. So that whole epiphany from God, from Jesus that I felt in the bed that day is, I haven't lost anything, but I've gained everything. And to not look at that as a loss We're all worthy of that experience. So I invite you to give it to yourself. In this moment, I want you to say, I am willing.
I'm willing.
I am willing to experience, right, that opportunity whenever I get a health diagnosis, whenever I get any obstacle in my life, in relationship, money, anything that's going to make me feel victimized. I'm going to remember this day and know that there's another way to see it and I don't need to suffer loss. Very important. Now I'm going to give it to Calico now. Very, very, very important is the non-judgment of it. I let myself be the victim. Sometimes we are going to need to be the victim. Sometimes we are going to need to be a hot mess, like I've talked about. Sometimes we are going to need to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, it's just part of it. And it's okay, and you get there and you go cuckoo and then you remember again. But you need to know, I don't want you to think that you need to jump right out of victimization to happiness in a hot second. That's not love. Love is feeling your feelings sometimes. And it might look a little messy, it might look a little ugly, it might look as hard as it did for me at that time. And I allow myself that. So you want to allow yourself your permission when you're going through hard things to not try to bypass and be spiritual about it. You want to be real about it. This is uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, look at that. But it's more of a filled with wonder. Look at that. I feel like I'm a victim. Look at that. I feel that this is my problem. With a lightness. So today we get to remember that we can choose not to be the victims of our circumstances. And I invite you to bring that into your life today from this moment on. And I know that from this moment on, with this story, I'm hoping that it's opened your mind. It's like a door, kind of opens up and you see something different. And that you will never be the same after that. Because now you know. You get the joke. You get the joke. All right, everyone. Just one last time all together. I am open. And I am willing. Amen.
Amen.
I'll give it to Calico now.